So tell me a little bit about the background of where and when you made when you recorded the album.
Yeah, I wrote the album when I was working as a stonemason in the Wairarapa, in a place called Kakariki. I'd left to get out of the city for a little while, have a bit of a time to reflect and do a bit of physical work.
Right.
And that's kind of where I ended up.
How long ago was that?
That was about 3 years ago now.
Okay.
So I had the songs for a little while, but I need a little bit of time to kind of figure out what I wanted to do with them, I think the Cascade album was a bit emotional time for me, so I just needed a little bit of time to cool down, really.
Right.
More than anything. So yeah, I wrote the songs out there and just kind of demoed them on my little tape recorder, sent them through to James Goldsmith, who started to chip away at the production on it while I was still away.
Right. So when you're sending him stuff, what kind of communication do you have? Do you talk to him about what you're expecting him to do, or does he tell you what he thinks he should do?
Yeah, he gives me some gentle feedback on the songs. I mean, no, he doesn't,
Right.
In terms of the songs themselves, in terms of lyrics or chord structures, he will sometimes say, look, it's good, but I think it needs a little change. I mean, as you know, my songs are notoriously simple. I'm kind of attracted to that, keeping it as simple. And sometimes maybe I go a little bit far, and he has to say, maybe just add a second chord in there or something. Just
right. Nothing fancy.
Yeah, but in terms of production, I mean, I didn't really have I had the band who I did the tour with, the Cascade with.
Right.
And they were the ones who played on the album, but we weren't really actively rehearsing or anything. So me and James kind of made a bit of a production plan in terms of who we wanted to play and what kind of the general feel of the instrumentation will be. And then we went into Mark Preble's surgery in Wellington, and tracked it all in there. So hadn't really rehearsed with the drummer Callum or anyone else really. We put it together when we're in there.
So with that in mind, it must have been a bit of work to get everybody kind of feel comfortable with each other. There's Callum, there's Daniel who plays the lap steel, Simon on bass, and then James producing and playing synth. So how long did it take before kind of everything gelled?
It only took about a week or so of kind of playing through and getting some ideas out. James tends to, he's kind of the ideas man when it comes to things like beats or other kind of lines, whereas I tend to kind of just stick to the feel, the kind of texture and the general mood I'm trying to create. So, and we're a pretty efficient working team now. We've done about 4 or 5 albums together.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
And the songs that comprise the album, do you think of them in terms of they all kind of go together as a whole, or are they individual items in your mind?
Yeah, they're all as a whole. A couple of them are actually quite a bit, came from quite a bit older songs I'd written for solo Backcountry China, songs God and Bloom were ones I'd had floating around for a little while that I'd never quite, but then they kind of came together and made sense with a set of songs. So, but other than that, yeah, they definitely feel like a story to me together.
One that I hope we can touch on is Ceramic Tide. I'm wondering kind of what's the story behind the song. There's a video for it. Sounds like some female vocals at the end as well. Who's that singing?
the ceramic tile.
Yeah, it's Harriet Ferry from So Laid Back Country China, and Julia Catherine Parr, who's another friend of mine, who's a beautiful singer.
Right.
Yeah, that song was about. Oh yeah, I suppose the ceramic tide to me is like this kind of like almost like a glacier, but it's more kind of fragile. You know, it's moving relentlessly. It could be broken if you push back on it hard enough, but
Right.
it keeps kind of coming. And yeah, the vision I had for it was this bridge in Wellington, in Northland, suburban Wellington, where I used to live over the bridge, and I used to walk across it with my eyes closed and just run my hands along the side. And there was something kind of about like a trust in these solid things around you that they kind of keep guiding us.
Okay. With that in mind, with the COVID and the lockdown and all that's been going on in the last couple of years, how has that affected you as an artist, as a musician?
Yeah, I suppose the main thing is just not being having a band really. I mean, I'm pretty content with not playing too much. I don't kind of have I don't really have the bigger performers kind of urge.
Right.
I'm quite happy doing a couple of small shows a year and just work on my songs. I think I've written a lot more probably because of it. The next album's almost ready to go, which is pretty quick for me. But yeah, I suppose it is just actually having those chunks of time at home. Just kind of happens, you know.
Gotcha. You mentioned that you're working as a stonemason. Are you still doing some of that?
No, I'm not. I was just doing that for a couple of years. So back in Wellington now. I actually have a degree in statistics.
Oh, I see. That's different than a stonemason.
It's quite different. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. But yeah, I think the press thought statistician was less romantic than stonemason.
Probably, yeah. Well, I got to say, reading the word stonemason and knowing what you sound like kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think in a different life I would have stayed a stonemason, but I think a couple of years was good. Learned a good skill and had that time.
Right. And speaking of it, in a different life, there is a song called "In Life" that kind of delves on life issues. What can you tell me about that one? What were you thinking? Where were you when you wrote that?
In life, there's God and there's me. In life, there's God and there's me.
Yeah, well, I've just been to 2 funerals in a week, as I kind of say in the song. And yeah, I suppose similar to excuse me, similar to Ceramic Tide, it's this kind of character of the wandering bull to me, in this kind of destructive kind of way. I suppose when I think of a bull, I think of this big kind of lumbering, strong kind of entity that it's kind of hard to tame. And I suppose death is very much one of them. It's, you know, kind of moves towards you at its own pace and can kind of affect everything around you when it happens in these little kind of all these little ambiguous ways. And I suppose that's what In Life was about. And it's kind of a story about those deaths and then kind of life events. I sing about my little sister's graduation and a little accident I had, a little fall I had,
right?
Kind of little things in life, but yeah.
Okay. One other one I'll touch on: Midnight Scene. And that reminded me, for some reason, of John Cale. I don't know if you're familiar with him or he's somebody you listen to, but for something about that connected me to him. Tell me what I should be thinking about.
Timing in a midnight scene, playing for me. Find me in a midnight scene. Take it away.
Yeah, Midnight Scene's about
One night.
it's actually about a friend of mine, Zoe Hall, who's an artist, a painter, who I used to spend a lot of time with before I'd left Wellington to go on stonemason. And she was one of those friends that you could give a message to at 1 a.m. and she'd be up painting. I'm a bit of a night person as well. And sometimes when you find those people who are kind of wired in the early hours, you end up developing a close friendship because
Yep.
you kind of live in that midnight world, that late night world. It was kind of just it was just a period of my life where I was spending a lot of time in the studio and I really valued it. But friendships are a bit like that ceramic tide or wandering bull as well. They can sometimes just kind of wander away and you have these kind of feelings about what was this friendship it was. You don't necessarily kind of miss it, but you when it's gone, it does feel funny sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned your Midnight World. Sounds like a great title for your next album.
Yeah.
You said that you've been working on stuff for the next one already. What are you thinking it's going to sound like? Is it going to be along similar lines to this one, or any kind of departures?
Yeah, well, I've written most of this new one on the piano, which is quite different for me.
Okay.
Not necessarily going to be, all kind of played on piano, but I've kind of just taken a bit of a different musical approach.
What do you usually write on? Do you write on guitar?
Yeah, just on guitar. But it's quite good because I don't know how to play the piano, so I don't really know. I don't really know what I'm doing, which is actually really nice. And sometimes I like that freedom where you kind of just put your hands down and you just kind of feel something. And,
right.
Yeah. Its working title is Cowboy Time, so it's got some cowboy songs on there.
Excellent. Can't go wrong there. So when you get up here to Auckland to play, what are you how do you connect with your audience when you're doing a live show?
Well, I've really been enjoying I've always been someone who's been terrified of playing on my own.
Right.
As long as there's one other person on stage with me, I'm fine, I'm relaxed. If I'm on my own, something just drops out from underneath me. I don't know why, I've always been like that. So I've really enjoyed doing the two-piece shows with Daniel. The songs that feel a lot more like when I wrote them than what they have come out on the album, which is nice. It's different, I will definitely get a band together and do do the whole thing sometime. But yeah, it just feels much more intimate, and yeah, a lot like the songs when I demoed them at the start. And I'm becoming more relaxed, I think, doing the two-piece thing. You don't have all the noise to hide behind. You're
Right.
a bit more exposed, and
so it takes some getting used to, does it?
Yeah, but I feel much more relaxed on stage than I think I ever have. I mean, so yeah, I'm loving doing the two-piece show. It's
all right,
really nice. So, yeah, we'll come up and do it at Whammy and just do some songs off the album, a couple off the Cascade, and yeah, I'll try and tell some stories.
Excellent. Sounds like a plan. I like it. Try to be there. Well, thank you for taking your time out to talk to me, especially since it's not in the middle of the night. It's probably feels like early morning to you here. So there you go. But yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you when you come up here. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, nice to talk to you. Thanks.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.